Most people assume dogs show honor through obedience, following commands, performing tricks, staying close when asked. That assumption feels natural, but it misses how dogs actually assign trust. For dogs, honor is not about pleasing behavior. It is about who they feel safe enough to lower their guard around. Studies in canine behavior show that dogs form secure attachment through emotional stability and predictability, not performance or rewards. The moments that matter most are rarely obvious. They happen quietly, without instruction or attention. They are not learned behaviors. They are choices. If understanding how dogs experience trust matters to you, consider subscribing. Now, let's look at the surprising ways dogs show honor to the humans they feel safest with. Way 1. When your dog lowers their guard without leaving. There are moments when a dog could stay alert, but doesn't. Nothing forces the change. No command is given. No reassurance is offered. Yet the tension that was once present fades instead of building. The body softens. Attention loosens. The environment is no longer being monitored in the same way. What matters here is not how the dog is positioned, but what stops happening internally. Dogs are wired to protect themselves. Vigilance is their default state, especially when they are unsure. Alertness keeps them safe. Escalation is useful. Leaving is always an option. So when a dog remains in place while lowering their internal guard, that choice carries weight. It means the situation no longer requires defense. The body has decided that scanning, preparing, and reacting are unnecessary. This shift is easy to misread as comfort or tiredness, but comfort can exist anywhere. True reduction of self-protection does not. That only happens when previous experiences have taught the dog that nothing harmful follows. Over time, predictability replaces readiness. The nervous system stops bracing. Remaining present becomes safe. What makes this meaningful is that the dog stays. They do not retreat to regain control. They do not maintain readiness just in case. They allow themselves to exist without protection while you are there. That is not habit. That is decision. This is one of the clearest ways honor appears. Not through affection, not through closeness, but through the absence of defense. When your dog no longer feels the need to protect themselves in your presence, they are showing trust at its deepest level. Way 2. Choosing positions that remove control. Control matters deeply to dogs. Being able to move, adjust, or disengage is how safety is maintained. Limiting those options is never accidental. When a dog places themselves in a situation where leverage is reduced, escape is delayed, or balance is shared, something important is happening internally. These choices often look ordinary. A dog settles in a way that limits quick movement. They remain where adjusting would be easier, but unnecessary. They do not position themselves for readiness. Instead, they stay where control is partially surrendered. Not because they must, but because they can. This is not about confidence alone. Confident dogs still protect their options. What changes here is perceived risk. The dog is not preparing for unpredictability. They are not holding themselves ready. They are allowing the environment to remain unchanged. That kind of vulnerability only appears when trust is already established. It cannot be demanded, it cannot be trained, and it does not appear through affection or praise. It forms through repeated experiences where safety has remained consistent. The meaning often arrives late for humans. We notice the position, but not what it costs the dog to choose it. Giving up leverage is a form of surrender, and surrender only happens when outcomes feel certain. When your dog willingly reduces control in your presence, they are saying something quiet but definitive. They believe you will not put them in a position they need to escape from. That belief is not comfort. It is honor. Way 3. Allowing access to what keeps them stable. Dogs rely on certain anchors to regulate themselves. Familiar routines, trusted spaces, repeated patterns. These elements help the nervous system stay balanced. They are not preferences, they are stabilizers, and access to them is carefully managed. When a dog allows you into these regulating spaces or routines, it is not casual, it is intentional. They are permitting interference with something that keeps their internal state steady. That permission is not given lightly. This is why disruption often causes stress. Stability depends on predictability. Scent, timing, and repetition tell the body what to expect next. When these foundations are respected, regulation is easy. When they are altered, uncertainty rises. Allowing access to these internal anchors means the dog does not expect harm to follow. It means they believe your involvement will not destabilize what keeps them grounded. That belief forms only after repeated proof. This kind of trust is invisible to most people because it does not look affectionate. It looks cooperative. But cooperation misses the point. What is happening is emotional permission. Access is granted when safety is assumed. When your dog allows you near what helps them stay regulated, they are extending trust into the core of how they feel secure. That extension is never automatic. It is earned. Way 4. Staying near when nothing is being asked. Some of the strongest signs of honor appear when nothing is happening. No interaction is needed. No attention is requested. There is no task to perform. And yet, the dog remains close. This kind of proximity does not seek response. It does not demand engagement. It exists without purpose. And that is exactly why it matters. Dogs are responsive animals. They react to cues, energy, and expectation. When those signals disappear, many will disengage. Staying nearby during stillness is not passive. It is a choice to share space without outcome. Stillness communicates safety more clearly than affection ever could. When nothing is required, the body relaxes. There is no pressure to respond. No anticipation, no correction, just shared presence. This is why these moments are often missed. Humans tend to value interaction, but dogs value predictability. When a dog remains close without being involved, they are confirming that the environment feels stable. Honor shows up here quietly, not through closeness for reward, but closeness without reason. When your dog stays near you even when nothing is expected, they are saying that your presence alone is enough. Quick pause. If these quiet signs of trust feel familiar, consider subscribing for more calm insights into how dogs experience connection. Way 5. Remaining during emotional shifts. Dogs are sensitive to emotional changes long before words appear. A shift in tone, a change in pace, a heaviness that settles into the room. These moments alter the environment in ways that the nervous system detects immediately. Many dogs could leave when this happens. They could retreat to regulate themselves elsewhere. That would be natural. But sometimes they don't. Instead, they stay, not to fix what is happening, not to intervene, but to remain present while the emotional state changes. This is not empathy in the human sense. It is emotional responsibility. Dogs do not solve distress. They stabilize environments. Remaining present helps return predictability. Their stillness, proximity, and consistency signal that nothing dangerous is unfolding. These moments are intimate, not dramatic, sitting nearby. Staying in the room, resting without seeking interaction. The dog absorbs uncertainty without escalating it. This choice is significant. Staying during emotional instability means the dog does not feel threatened by it. They trust that the environment will settle again. When your dog remains during emotional shifts, instead of distancing themselves, they are showing a form of honor that goes unnoticed. They are sharing the weight of the moment, and that kind of trust is profound. Way 6. Matching your emotional pace. Dogs are constantly reading the emotional rhythm of the space they share. They notice changes in movement, tone, and attention long before those changes are obvious to people. A slowing of steps, a softer presence, or a quieter focus all register immediately. Around unfamiliar or unpredictable individuals, this awareness often increases vigilance. But around someone a dog trusts, the response shifts. Instead of becoming more alert, the dog begins to regulate. Their movement eases, their posture settles, breathing slows. They do not prepare to react or reposition themselves for control. This is not imitation. The dog is not copying behavior. They are responding to a change in emotional pace and choosing to align with it. This alignment has a stabilizing effect. Matching pace reduces uncertainty. When energy becomes steady, the environment feels readable again. For dogs, predictability is safety. By slowing themselves, they help return the space to balance rather than contributing to tension. What gives this meaning is choice. Dogs do not always regulate when humans do. They can remain restless, disengage, or redirect their energy elsewhere. When a dog instead adjusts their internal rhythm to stay aligned with you, they are prioritizing shared stability over their own stimulation. These moments often pass unnoticed because they appear ordinary. Nothing dramatic occurs, yet internally, they reflect trust. The dog does not interpret your emotional shifts as a threat. They expect calm to return and remain present while it does. Honor shows up through this quiet regulation, not through reaction or excitement, but through restraint. When your dog slows with you, steadies themselves, and supports balance rather than amplifying energy, they are expressing trust in one of its most subtle forms. Way 7. Sharing what they value without anxiety. Dogs assign value through emotional association rather than material worth. What matters to them is not the object itself, but what it represents internally. Certain items, spaces, or routines provide familiarity, grounding, and emotional stability. These are not simple possessions. They help regulate how the dog feels. Because of this, guarding comes naturally. Protecting what stabilizes the internal state is a survival behavior. It preserves predictability and reduces uncertainty. When those elements are threatened, tension appears. That is why sharing matters. When a dog allows access to something they value without signs of stress, the moment holds meaning. There is no stiffness, no scanning, no preparation to intervene. The dog remains emotionally steady while control is partially released. Sharing is different from offering. Offering can happen in play or excitement. Sharing happens when nothing changes internally. The dog does not expect loss or disruption to follow. Their nervous system stays regulated. This choice runs counter to instinct. Letting go of vigilance requires confidence in the outcome. It means the dog trusts that involvement will not damage what keeps them stable. The absence of anxiety is the signal that matters most. The dog is not monitoring the situation. They are not bracing for correction or recovery. Safety is assumed. Honor shows up here quietly. Trust has overridden the need to protect. The dog values emotional safety with you more than maintaining exclusive control over what grounds them. That decision cannot be trained or demanded. It forms through consistency, predictability, and lived experience. When a dog shares what helps them feel secure without tension, they are expressing trust at a foundational level. Quick reminder, if this perspective feels meaningful, consider subscribing, part and parcel. Way 8. Choosing gentleness when power exists. Dogs are capable of great physical force. They have speed, strength, and the ability to protect themselves when necessary. That capacity does not disappear simply because it isn't being used. Power remains present, even in moments that appear calm. What matters is how that power is managed. There are situations where a dog could respond with intensity, but chooses not to. Movements slow rather than escalate. Pressure is controlled rather than applied. Reactions remain measured. This is not confusion or hesitation. It is an active decision. Restraint requires awareness. The dog recognizes its own capability and deliberately limits it. That choice does not come from weakness. It comes from trust. The dog does not feel the need to defend itself in that moment. This kind of gentleness is not universal. Dogs do not display it with unfamiliar people or in uncertain environments. It appears where the dog expects safety to remain intact. Past experiences have shown that restraint will not lead to harm. When a dog softens their response, despite having the ability to act forcefully, they are signaling confidence in the relationship. They are relying on predictability rather than control. Honor is found in this quiet decision to remain gentle. The dog does not need to assert dominance or protect themselves. They trust the situation enough to choose softness. Choosing gentleness when strength exists reflects a deep sense of security. It shows belief in mutual safety and a bond built on reliability rather than fear. Way 9. Returning to you after independence. Healthy dogs are not meant to stay attached at all times. They move away, rest in separate spaces, explore their surroundings, and regulate themselves independently. Autonomy supports balance. It allows a dog to feel capable and secure on their own. That independence is not a lack of connection. It is part of emotional stability. What carries meaning is what happens afterward. Some dogs create distance and then return without being called. No signal invites them back. No sound redirects them. The decision unfolds quietly. After time apart, the dog chooses to reconnect on their own terms. This return is often misunderstood as neediness, but it is the opposite. Dependence seeks reassurance. Selection does not. The dog has experienced separation, evaluated the environment, and decided where they belong in that moment. Returning by choice means the dog expects safety to still be present. They assume the emotional atmosphere has remained consistent. They trust that rejoining will not require vigilance or adjustment. Nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be tested. This type of reconnection reflects confidence in the relationship. The dog does not return out of obligation or habit. They return because the bond feels reliable. Honor appears in this voluntary movement back toward you, not because the dog could not stay away, but because they did not feel the need to remain distant. Trust is revealed when autonomy and connection coexist without tension. When a dog returns without prompting, they are affirming the relationship quietly. That affirmation is intentional, and it reflects a bond built on stability, not dependence. The bottom line, what it means if your dog has shown even one. If you're wondering whether these moments really count, they do. A dog does not need to show all of them for trust to be real. One moment is enough. One decision, made without pressure, carries weight. Dogs do not distribute trust gradually or perform it for approval. When they offer it, even briefly, it reflects a conclusion they have already reached. Many people doubt these quiet signs because they are not dramatic. They pass without attention. But dogs do not measure meaning through intensity. They measure it through consistency and safety. If your dog has ever chosen calm over defense, presence over distance, or gentleness over control while with you, that choice matters. This isn't about earning something or doing more. It's about recognizing what has already been given. Trust, once extended, reshapes how dogs experience the world around a person. And that shift does not happen casually. If this helped you see your dog differently, consider subscribing for more calm, thoughtful insights into how dogs experience trust and connection. And take a moment to notice the quiet choices your dog makes. They often say more than anything else.